it's Aaliyah from the Song of the Wind, so I hope you're doing really well. I've recently gone through my tarot and oracle collection and I've pulled out a few decks that I'm just not vibing with, that I'm really not using, and I thought I'd share with you the ones that I'm just not connecting with. They're hidden inside these little boxes. So let's change the camera angle and see what we have. Alrighty, so first on the chopping block is the Steampunk Tarot. And I actually really love Barbara Moore, and I think the book in this is fantastic. It's actually a really good resource, but I just don't vibe with the deck. It's kind of boring to me. I don't really enjoy the imagery so much. I feel like I'm just keeping it for the book. So part of me's, you know, tempted, maybe I should just pass on the cards and find someone who's not going to be interested in having the book anyway and just keep the book. So this one I'm just not really vibing with. It kind of kills me, but I'm not into the Wildwood Tarot. I really thought I would love it. A lot of the images that I saw, like the promotional type images, were just beautiful, but when I read with it, I find like I'm really trying to dig. It seems like the messages just don't come through that easily, and yeah, I just find it all a little bit confusing, and I don't really understand the guidebook so much. I just don't think it's for me. So I think this one might have to go. And funnily enough, these two were actually kind of the precursors to the monthly mystery deck. So before we decided to start actually filming them, Brad was just randomly buying me decks, which is quite nice. And he knew that I loved this kind of artwork, and he knew that I liked Barbara Moore. So yeah, that's where the idea all came from. The Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I so wanted to love this. I so wanted to love it, but I feel like for me it's so far away from the way that I look at tarot and the way that I see its structure and how I understand it. I mean, maybe it's just a little bit too, I don't know, perhaps advanced for me at the moment, but I find myself a bit confused a lot of the time when I read with this deck, so I think it might be time to pass this one on, although the book is also really good. So I'm kind of torn. I feel like with this one especially, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the earlier editions, it'd be a bit mean to have it, it's not even put together right. It'd be a little bit mean to separate the cards from the book, but I like the book, so maybe I should keep it. I don't know. Healing Light Tarot. This was one of the very last monthly mystery decks before it became random and infrequent mystery deck. I just can't really vibe with it. You know, I think my original thought that just wasn't really for me was true. And I just find the imagery a tad bit boring. Like, I don't get a lot out of that. It's just like, yawn. That's how I feel. I feel it's a bit yawn. And it's missing a lot of the symbolism that I really use when I am reading. So yeah, in so many ways it just doesn't work for me, this particular deck. And this is yet another Bill Worthington deck that I expected to absolutely fall in love with. And I love the images, but I struggle to read with it. Maybe it's because I can't relate to the animals. I'm fascinated by Druidism, but it's so far removed from the land that I know, I just find it a bit difficult to actually tune into it. So this is a very reluctant sale. This was the very first deck that I actually got through the monthly mystery deck. So it's nostalgic in that sense, but if I'm not using it, it literally is just taking up space on my shelf, and it's so very rare for me to actually grab it these days. Just not for me. Gave it a go, gave it a flick through, not for me. And I've had this deck for a really long time. I think it came out in 2003, and this was probably the second tarot deck that I ever bought. My first one was the Mythic Tarot. And I think I bought it mainly for this image, because this was purchased back in the day where you had to go to a metaphysical shop and they didn't have decks that you could just flip through. You know, the internet wasn't really a thing even back then. So yeah, it was hard to know if something was going to actually suit you. And it's just too gold. It's just too gold, it's too Renaissance. I thought I'd like it, I really don't. I should be nostalgic, but I'm not. I actually just kind of want to see this go. Although I do like the gilding, that is nice. Although I like it when other decks do it more. And then finally, another surprising one to the category is the Animal Kin Oracle by Sarah Wilder, Fifth Element Life. yeah, the images, I'm just not so into them. I can't really put my finger on it. The actual guidebook, like the messages that come through, are quite good, but of all the Oracle decks that I have, I so rarely pick this one up, and I'm sure there's someone out there that would, you know, love to add this to their collection. I'm pretty sure it's a 2nd edition and it's since changed. But yeah, do you feel like a sense of guilt if you just don't really get into a deck? Do you feel like you're somehow like betraying the creator or the system or any of that kind of stuff by not liking it? Do you feel guilty? Is it just me? I don't know. But yeah, let me know. What do you do if you have got decks that you're just not vibing with? Like, do you put them aside for a certain period of time and then come back to them and see if maybe your tastes have changed? Or do you just immediately on-sell them? Do you try and trade them? Have you got a process for how you know, sort of deal with decks that you're not really enjoying or using? Let me know, because I really just don't know what to do, and I'm feeling a bizarre sense of guilt about this. So I wanted to share it with you in case there was anyone out there that had any tips for me. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, you have a lovely day, week, month, whatever it ends up being, and I'll speak to you again real soon. Bye!